Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, January 2nd, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Also feel free to leave a comment down the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the significant feature map across the Atlantic for this evening. We still have that high pressure ridge in the northeastern portion of the North Atlantic, still dominating the weather across the region, sending all of that easterly flow of low level winds all the way across the main development region right there, west of Africa, east of the Eastern Caribbean, sending all of that easterly wind into the Caribbean. We can also see a trough to the north of the Leeward Islands, and we can also see a cold front to the north of that trough. And if we actually take a look back at the satellite images, we can see where all of the low level clouds are being pushed from east to west by that high pressure ridge, and we can also see the clouds associated with that trough right here and the clouds associated with that cold front to the north of it. Let us turn our attention to what was predicted yesterday for today. It was stated yesterday that we would have received some amount of rainfall across portions of northern and eastern Jamaica on the early morning as well as the morning time. So 12 a.m. is what was being predicted last night for some rainfall across portions of northern Jamaica, and then again in the morning when the day lights. And what ended up happening, if you actually take a look at a post that was made at 1 a.m. early this morning, we actually had some rainfall on the Doppler radar, the Cuban Doppler radar. We know that the Jamaican Doppler radar has been done for some time now. Hopefully it gets sorted out this year. We can see some greens that represent moderate rainfall and the yellows that represent some strong rainfall, especially across portions of Hanover and St. James at, let's say, up to 1 a.m. this morning. You can also see some greens into portions of St. Mary and Portland as well as St. Thomas at that time. Another post was made at 9:46 a.m. We also had some clouds bringing some more rainfall across portions of northern Jamaica. Then at 12:20 p.m. another post was made with some more greens coming into portions of eastern Jamaica, so Portland and St. Thomas still getting in on some of the rainfall. Then finally another post was made at 5:21 p.m. highlighting a lot of clouds across portions of western Jamaica as well as inland areas of central Jamaica. And we even had some commenters stating that they got some rainfall. Northern Clarendon got in on some of the rainfall. And even on Instagram, at midnight last night, somebody said that the rain woke them up as well. Another commenter, somebody said partly cloudy in Old Harbor, sunny and hot. More than likely those sections are the areas where we can see the actual ground, so clear skies across portions of southern Jamaica, so more than likely southern Jamaica. Just like what this person said, Old Harbor, we know that Old Harbor is in St. Catherine. Alright, so let us take a look at the actual satellite images across the island for today. So yes, we had a buildup of clouds during the afternoon across portions of central and western Jamaica, and when we put these images into motion, we saw that all of these clouds stretched and went all the way over into western Jamaica, so portions of, let's say, northern St. Elizabeth, portions of Westmoreland, portions of northern Manchester and northern Clarendon, just like what the commenter said, got in on some of the rainfall. Even on Doppler radar images this hour, we could still see some greens and yellows that represent some amount of rainfall this evening up to recording our coming off of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth right there. So yes, some rainfall indeed fell, and if we actually look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website for confirmation, we actually had the rainfall. So yes, the rainfall on the north coast in the morning as well as eastern Jamaica in the morning, then it spread to central Jamaica and western Jamaica up to this time. Alright, so let us turn our attention to the temperatures right now across the island. So we can see where we have 20 degrees Celsius across Moortown, in Portland, 21 degrees Celsius in Mandeville, 26 degrees Celsius in Negril, 24 degrees Celsius in Port Maria. And more than likely as the night progresses, the temperatures will get lower. Let's talk forecast for tomorrow. So we can see some whites that signal average temperatures for the Caribbean, and the average temperature for January is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that was calculated, that's about 30 degrees Celsius. We can also see some slight blues, which indicate at least negative 1 degree Celsius below average. So we could get anywhere from, let's say, 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, especially across portions of the southern Caribbean, the ABC Islands, Colombia, Venezuela. Jamaica, however, on the Euro model, we're seeing some white, so the average 30 degrees Celsius. However, on the GFS model for the same time tomorrow, both maps have been showing 18Z on Tuesday. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. On the GFS, we kind of see some blows to the eastern portion of Jamaica. So let's say anywhere from 29 to 30 degrees Celsius is what is being expected tomorrow. And let us talk wind forecast. So we can expect anywhere from 10 to 20 knot winds from the east across the island tomorrow, and both models are showing that easterly wind. And we need to remember that when the thunderstorm season comes back, the afternoon convection season, wherever we see all of this air piling up, wherever we have the least amount of winds across the island, wherever we have the blues that represent less wind, so 0 to 5 knots, that's where the clouds usually bundle up and form afternoon convection. And then when we have the afternoon convection and those cumulonimbus clouds tower up high up in the atmosphere, they are sheared off by what we call wind shear. And tomorrow, 18Z tomorrow, that's 1 p.m. on Tuesday, we're going to be having a northwesterly flow of wind shear across the island. And if anything should be developing across the island, it would more than likely be sheared off to the southeast. So especially southern Jamaica should be getting in on whatever happens in the afternoon hours. Alright, so let us talk precipitation forecast for tomorrow. So we see some blues across the waters to the north of Jamaica. We also see some blues to the east. So we might get in on some of the rainfall, because the blues represent rainfall according to the key at the bottom. So in millimeters, by the way, that's 5 a.m. on Tuesday according to the Euro, and the GFS agrees with that. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So expect some rainfall across portions of St. Anne, Trelawney, maybe St. Mary, Portland tomorrow morning very early. Even at 7 a.m. we still have those blues across portions of northern Jamaica, and both models agree with that. In the afternoon, however, we can see that those blues are starting to extend across portions of southern Jamaica, especially eastern, central, and western Jamaica. And with that northwesterly wind shear, it might favor southern Jamaica the most. And both models are in agreement with that. Some amount of blues across portions of eastern, central, and western Jamaica at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Now, we know that when we have consensus, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. According to the accumulated precipitation forecast by the Euro model, the Euro model is showing the most concentrated rainfall across portions of St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew for tomorrow. We have rainfall across some areas. We shall see exactly what unfolds with that. The GFS is not so robust as the Euro model. We have some grays, but not as much as what the Euro is showing. So it makes sense that our workers here, whether Jamaica made a post recently at 6:35 p.m. stating that we are going to be receiving some amount of rainfall across portions of northern Jamaica in the morning, and then central and western Jamaica during the afternoon. So basically the same maps that were just shown are what is being shown here. So prepare yourself for that. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's talk briefly about what's happening across the Caribbean in general. Let's reload the page so that we have the latest images. Alright, so taking a look at the satellite images, we can see where for the most part the Caribbean is fair. Yes, we have some amount of low-level clouds coming into portions of Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao. We can also see some clouds coming into portions of Trinidad and Tobago. Look at all of this cloud streaking over from South America from the southwest to the northeast. All of that is high level clouds, all of that is cirrus clouds, all of that is wind shear pushing all of that into the main development region. We can also see some amount of clouds across portions of Costa Rica, some clouds that came into portions of Nicaragua and Honduras as usual, and for the most part it's a fair kind of condition across majority of the basin. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images, we can see where for the most part, yes, we have some rainfall to the south of the Cayman Islands. We can also see some amount of greens that represent rainfall across portions of Guyana, some amount of rainfall across portions of French Guiana as well, some greens that represent rainfall across portions of Colombia as well. Let's talk about the wind forecast for tomorrow. So we can see where we're going to be having, yes, 10 to 20 knot winds across portions of the Caribbean still tomorrow. So yes, from the east northeast across the Leeward and Windward Islands, from the east across portions of the Greater Antilles. Look at the Gulf of Mexico. They have a lot of strong southerly winds coming in, and that's getting up into the yellows that represent up to 25 to 30 knot winds. And the GFS is in agreement with that. This map is showing 12 p.m. on Tuesday. So that is what is being expected in terms of winds. As it relates to the Saharan dust, however, we see that yes, we're going to be having some amount of browns that represent the Saharan dust 2 p.m. on Tuesday, especially across portions of the southeastern Caribbean. So yes, portions of the Leeward Islands should be getting in on some of that hazy weather and dry air. So portions of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. However, it looks like Trinidad and Tobago, as well as portions of Venezuela and those islands in the southeastern Caribbean, so South America, so Venezuela, Colombia, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana will be getting in on that Saharan dust. But it is not as strong as what we normally get in the summer months, July, August. So it is nothing to worry about to that effect. It's not going to be that drastic. Let's talk about the precipitation forecast across the Caribbean for tomorrow. So yes, we already spoke about Jamaica with that close-up. We still have some amount of rainfall that we're going to be getting across portions of southeastern Cuba. Sections of the Dominican Republic might get in on some rainfall. All of this rainfall that I'm referring to goes all the way up from 0.01 of an inch of rainfall, going all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. The portions of northern Haiti, portions of the northeastern portions of the Dominican Republic, portions of northern and eastern Puerto Rico, sections of the Leeward Islands including Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Barts, Barbuda, Antigua, Guadeloupe getting in on some amount of rainfall. If we actually scroll down, we can also see the forecast for portions of Trinidad and Tobago. Some amount of greens, not as robust as what the northeastern Caribbean will be getting in on. Some amount of yellows for the ABC Islands. Lots of rainfall for portions of Costa Rica, Panama. Not so much for Nicaragua and Honduras as what they've been getting all along. You can also see some amount of rainfall for Guyana as well. And if we actually take a look at the GFS model, we actually see that we have consensus with that amount of rainfall as well. So the same areas that were just mentioned, the ABC Islands right there, portions of northeastern Dominican Republic, portions of northern and eastern Puerto Rico, the northeastern sections of the Leeward of the Caribbean, so the Leeward Islands, portions of Trinidad, portions of Guyana, portions of Panama and Costa Rica especially. And if we actually take a look at the western half of the hemisphere, of the basin, we can also see some amount of rainfall that's expected across portions of the Cayman Islands, as well as maybe even Belize right there. The Euro is more robust than the GFS, however. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.